Hey, what's good with it, y'all? This is your boy Rojo. This is the Rojo Room, man. What we're going to talk about today is the first time I had to do a removal. And although I don't like to talk about, the violence and the negative aspects, as to not give it false glorification, I'm going to talk about this one because there's an important message in this one, and we'll get to that as it develops. You know what I mean? But I don't like to glorify this shit, and I don't like to put myself in positions that like almost entertain or encourage, the violence associated with the lifestyle. But we're gonna go ahead and do this one, man. So, moved to California in 1992. 17 years old. 1993, was already in the pen. Being that I got arrested in where is my first case out of? My first case was out of multiple places, man. I had a bunch of second-degree burglaries, man, because we used to break into stores after hours. Clothing stores, gun stores, jewelry stores, shit like that, and empty them. Well, anyway, I took a deal for like 12 felonies, bro, and I only got 2 years for it. Because they didn't really have a lot of evidence, but if I would have fought them, each one of them independently carried a minimum of 2. So I was just like, fuck it. I pled guilty to all of them. You know what I mean? And it ended up kind of fucking me because one of them was a first-degree burglary that I actually didn't do, that the homies did. And later on, the strike law came out and it became a strike. Yeah, that's a dope-ass motherfucking car. My bad. So, it ended up becoming a strike. So now fucking, everything ends up getting doubled and 85% and then all this stuff, man. And I didn't even do the shit. So it was kind of dumb. But who can foresee the law changes in the future? And what doesn't make no sense is it's retroactive. You know what I mean? None of the good laws that benefit people are ever retroactive. Like, oh, well, this is only going to carry 2 years now. Massive amounts of people aren't getting out of prison. But anyway, so I go through the county jail, take my time. I go to San Quentin. Now, I go to West Block, Bayside, reception. This is before they put the Southerners on Bayside and all that. There wasn't no Southerners. It was just, I don't know where they went. You know what I mean? They probably went to AdSeg at the time. So I go in there, I don't really know stuff, man. I start talking to some OGs, man. They kind of lace me up. Shout out to Donnie Lewis. Rest in peace. Good OG. I rocked with him for years. He kind of laced me up, man. He was the one responsible for helping me learn exactly what I should and should not do and what was expected of me as a homeboy, because I came into prison blind. My county, when I took my deal, there was no structure whatsoever in the county. And I don't mean structure from a gang standpoint like Nuestra Raza or nothing like that, but just there was no household policies. We were sleeping all day. We were fighting if we felt like it. Motherfuckers were doing drugs. Motherfuckers weren't doing no burpees. There wasn't nothing, bro. It was like the Wild West. So I show up in West Block, man, and I'm on the 5th tier. I'm like, oh, that's a long way down. I remember thinking, boy, I hope I don't get into no shit right here on this tier, man. Yeah. First time you go to the pen, you look over that 5th tier or 4th tier. Whoo, man, makes your stomach feel funny and shit. Real talk. Anyway, so man, I've been there a few weeks, man. I'm going to chow. I'm learning what it's like, what's expected of me as a homeboy in prison. Well, there was a dude on the 1st tier, man. All I'm gonna say is he was out of Redwood City, and he had a celly that was cool. That was from over by his area, Daly City, pretty close. You know what I'm saying? Well, I've been there a few weeks, man. I've been to counselors and shit like that, and like I said, I'm starting to learn what it is to be a homeboy. So one day, one of the people that was responsible for West Block, not like a OA or nothing, but he was running West Block pretty much. He came to me and another dude, and he was like, hey, if something needs to be done, would you guys be willing to do it? And you can't really say no. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't have said no anyway, because I was ready for combat. I was 18 years old. Let's do it. And I'm like, yeah, of course. And the other homie's like, yeah, for sure. Well, what the other homie didn't know is that they were talking about his celly. You know what I mean? And I guess that's why he happened to come up to, me and that dude, because he knew that was his celly. Like, okay, we'll get at you later. So I think this was like on the way back from breakfast or whatnot. So we come out for dinner in the evening, and he gets at us. He's like, "Hey, tomorrow, I want you guys to do something." He's like, "One of you is gonna use a weapon, and one of you is gonna, put hands on them." And there was another dude that was supposed to be involved too. And you guys are supposed to put hands on him, and one of you is gonna use a weapon. Does anybody volunteer? I'm like, me. And they're like, and he's like, "Well, no, I want you to do it." And he's like, "Oh, okay." The homie didn't say no. And he goes, "It's your celly, bro. Like, got paperwork on him for telling on a murder case." And he was like, "Oh shit," because man, your cellies with somebody, you talk and you share stories, and in a lot of cases you become homies, like friends, even though you don't know each other from before. You're spending a lot of time in a confined area, and you ain't got nothing to do but talk and reception. There's no TVs, there's no radios, there's none of that shit. This is way before, fuck, the cell phones were the size of fucking computers. You know what I mean? So the next day is when it's supposed to go down, after showers, right? So I make my way down. I make my way downstairs after shower. And they used to have people like running around, like they call it Broadway, kind of, you know what I'm saying, where people run around on the bottom. They wouldn't necessarily lock you up, man. They were fairly cool back then. You know what I mean? It wasn't get back to your cell, this and that. You could congregate a little bit. So I make my way down there, and there's another homeboy too. I'm not gonna mention his name. He's still doing his thing. We make our way down there, and dudes inside the cell. They're inside the cell. Doors are open though, and oh, damn, is that necessary? So we make our way down to their cell, and we're just like, "Hey, what's up?" Talking to them like nothing's going on, and I think I'm smoking a Frajo. They come out of the cell, like, "Hey, let's go do whatever." And man, I'm nervous as a motherfucker. You know what I mean? So what happens is the intended victim, dude from Redwood City, comes out of the cell. So his cellie stays back in the cell a little bit. I'm talking to him, dude's talking to him, keeping his, focus on us and not turning around to see what his cellie's doing. Well, the cellie's pulling out the tomahawk. You know what I'm saying? And we kind of start moving. His cellie comes out, the homie comes out, comes in from the side. Wham, wham, wham. Hit him like 3 or 4 times. Like here. And as soon as he turned to throw the piece away, I planted on my weight on my back right foot. Because dude didn't realize what was really happening for a second. He was just like, and I planted on my weight on my back foot. Bam, cracked him. He goes down. Well, me and the other homeboy, we get to stomping his ass out for a minute. There's so many people. The gunner's all the way in the front above where they're on the microphone. There was only one gunner in there. There might have been one on the other side, on the bay side, but there were so many people down loose on Broadway, because they had all them bunks and stuff out there that you can't even see unless the gunner's above you. And he was way at the other end, so we stomp him probably a good 10, 12 times each. And then we bounce, you know what I mean? We get out of there. Well, man, I dip. I kick my shoes off because there was, I had evidence on my shoes, right? So I break, I hit the stairs, head back up toward the 5th tier. Man, I'm about to shove this whole car up his ass. So I get up back to the 5th tier, go to my crib, nothing. By the time I got inside the crib, like the bars were still open, the alarm goes off. And, everybody gets down. I'm already in the cell, man. I'm already 5th tier, like 3 cells from the very end. Other homeboy was on the 1st tier, and then that dude. But dude told on his cellie, but he didn't implicate me or the other dude for whatever reason. And I'm going to tell you why I told this story, because it was pretty devastating, bro. Dude was cut and he was knocked out. You know what I mean? Like, he was smooth catered. You know what I'm saying? The reason I tell this one is because the individual who got hit, the paperwork wasn't about him snitching. It was about a whole other individual with the same name. And that shit happens more often than you would think. You know what I mean? I don't want to put his name out there, you know, because he got fucked up real good and he didn't have it coming and he ended up PCing up for it, and then he told. You know what I'm saying? But that never would have happened if you didn't have paperwork about a case, and this dude happened to have that name, and you were trying to make a name for yourself by handling, you know, getting rid of supposed trash. You know what I mean? So the dude's name, first and last, is the same. He's from the same area. He had nothing to do with it. You know, and when dude that supposedly he had told on showed up just like 2 weeks later, he was like, "Oh no, that the dude who told on me is still in the county in the hole." You know, and they ended up hitting this dude, and it's a very common name. Let's just say it's Jose Hernandez. It's not, but you know how common that name is from the same area, and he ended up, man, he caught a razor like right by the jug. You know what I mean? And you know, we could have all been facing 187 or attempted. You know, if that would have took place. You know, unfortunately, it didn't. You know what I mean? Which my bad. The police just drove by hella slow. So yeah, there's the example, man. It's like you could be doing all you could be and being right and being this and being that and being, you know, a righteous homie. Then you could get hit for no fucking reason and almost lose your life. And then I could have almost got life. The other two homeboys involved could have got life, and I only came out a 2-year sentence. But anyway, that's what I'm saying, man. There's a lesson to this, man. The gang lifestyle is dangerous. There's all kinds of things that could happen for no reason. You know what I mean? And it's just something you need to think about. Instead of going to prison, go somewhere where you got a career. It's your boy Rojo. This is Rojo Room. I'm out.